The Pistons have decided to move on from Stan Van Gundy, league sources telling our Adrian Wojnarowski. Van Gundy had full authority on player personnel and staffing, but owner Tom Gores has suggested changes, including ones related to general manager Jeff Bauer that Van Gundy reportedly resisted. The Pistons just missed the playoffs in the East this season after trading for Blake Griffin. Stephen A., is the Pistons' job desirable, and who do you think that they should hire?
I wouldn't say it's desirable, but I'm not going to poo-poo it the way most people would because they're in the Eastern Conference. And even though we see Boston and Philadelphia on the come-up, without LeBron James, the East could be had. It could be up for grabs. When you've got Blake Griffin there, who to me, even though he's good for 20 and 10 a night, has been somewhat of a disappointment in terms of the box office appeal that he once had and what we expected from him. He can play. He's not a scrub, but we did expect more. Reggie Jackson hasn't been 100% healthy. He had a bad ankle injury. I think that's the reason they didn't make the playoffs. But I want to also say this. Stan Van Gundy, good man, good coach. But in the same breath, I can't knock the Pistons for making their decision because he only made the playoffs once in 4 years, and he had complete autonomy to really change the roster, and it wasn't for the better. As I look ahead and I think about who the next coach should be, Jerry Stackhouse does come to my mind. I think that can't be ignored. When I think about an executive, people have mentioned a few names. Obviously, they've mentioned Isaiah Thomas, a two-time champion with the Pistons, one of the top 50 players of all time, arguably the greatest small guard in the history of basketball, one could argue, anyway, doing basketball analysis for NBA TV and TNT right now. They say Isaiah Thomas. I don't disagree with that. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I think the name Chauncey Billups has to be brought up. Chauncey Billups, our colleague here at ESPN. He is the NBA Finals MVP for the Detroit Pistons from a few years ago when they smoked the Lakers in 5 games. He was considered a highly intelligent, high basketball IQ point guard for their system. We know that he was a big-time candidate for the Cleveland job. So he's somebody that's being looked at in that regard. And I don't understand for the life of me how everybody's talking about the Pistons in terms of an executive position potentially being open, assuming On Tellem and those boys bring in somebody for the president of basketball operations. And Chauncey Billups' name is not being included in that discussion. That makes no sense to me.